What up, my man of society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Loke, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That is how you help my channel get into the algorithm. I'd highly appreciate it if you go ahead and do that. It's absolutely free. You know, you can't turn down free stuff, so you go ahead and tap the subscribe, the like, share, all that. I would appreciate it. Now, I was asked by one of my subscribers, right, about do I believe the scare tactic works? Do I believe that you could scare somebody straight, right? There's no doubt that people think that this method works, especially when it comes to the Latino culture, because it's something that constantly, preached, on our side, right? Of how if your kids misbehave, you need to beat them, and you just gotta give them a little taste, and they'll realize and all this, right? And so I understand why people see it the way they see it, right? But the way I just happen to work is I could only go based on facts, right? But that's not facts. Those are just advice and stuff that people have been saying for a while, passing down, right? But it doesn't necessarily make it facts, right? I could only go on facts, the research, the scientific research, right? And studies have shown that it does not work. You know what I mean? I could understand why people think it would work, right? But see, one of the things is that when a child suffers trauma, right, and he's already put in a chaotic environment as it is growing up in general, you threatening them with some form of violence or putting them in a place like, let's say, prison or jail is not going to change their minds. Now, it might work on someone who is not overall put in a chaos or not coming up in a chaotic environment, right? Let's say someone who's like starting to do bad things, right? But he's not really coming from an overall place where he would take that leap, right? While a lot of these individuals that join they're already coming from chaotic environments. You know what I mean? They live for the thrill, and to them, you're not going to be able to scare them with prison talk or with them losing their lives, right? Because these individuals, to them, it's like, who gives a damn if I live or die either way? You know what I mean? No one gives a fuck either way. You know what I mean? I sure as hell don't. You know what I mean? And the way he thinks that is because he feels that no one does give a fuck. So why should he, right? You see it, in these individuals, right, coming from the streets. Hey, let's go do this. Like, hey, but we could get smoked or killed. Well, so what? Then we get smoked and killed. Let's just roll. They don't care, bro. You know what I'm saying? When they already, had that mind state of joining these neighborhoods and stuff like that, this, they already know about them losing life or potentially, going to jail for a long time. They already have this. They already are aware of this. That is nothing new to them. They grew up already understanding the overall realm of the streets, right? Now, people that are not from the streets, I could understand why they would see that this tactic would work, right? Because it would scare them straight. But these are individuals who already grew up in these types of environments and knowing about this. So to them, they're not fazed. You know what I mean? If I'm raised by a bunch of lions, I'm not going to be afraid when I see lions compared to some people who are not. You know what I mean? They're already accustomed to it. So, you get what I'm saying? Compared to someone who's not accustomed to it. So, and essentially, those are the individuals that are going to end up in these locations. So therefore, you understand what I'm saying, that the scare tactic is not going to work, so although while people may think that you could scare somebody straight by this and that, if anything, regardless if you're talking about how stuff goes south and there's a lot of backstabbing and betrayal, individuals are already aware of this. This is literally told to us, so homies already understand all of that. So to say that, youngsters are going to choose a different path by now, being aware of this it's not really going to happen, If anything, it's just, idolizing their overall situations, right? Oh, I could be talked about and remembered. That's why single out individuals, it's not really good, right? Because they take it as um, their moment to shine, right? The only way that they could shine, right? Because they don't believe that they're worth anything, right? We're talking about damaged individuals here who feel like no one gives a fuck about them, and that their life has no meaning or purpose. You're only giving them a meaning and purpose now, you know? Um, so that's the reason why, research has shown, that this kind of stuff does not work, right? And even with the beating and stuff like that, you know what I mean? If anything, it just hardens the individual, and it makes them more, it's gonna make them more, reckless, more depressed, more aggressive. Um, you know what I'm saying? When you constantly, hurt an animal, like let's say a dog, a pit bull, you know what I mean? It's gonna bite back, you know what I mean? It's gonna get tired of his shit. It is gonna become that's how animals get very aggressive, right? They're taught these behaviors, right? So then now when it sees no matter which human it sees, it's gonna attack, because it was so used to it being attacked by individuals, that now when it sees an animal, or any of these circus animals, bears, lions, you see, where they start attacking their master, and it goes horribly wrong, right? Because when you tend to beat an animal, right, it's eventually gonna get tired of it. Remember, we're animals too. We're creatures too. Don't ever forget that. I know people like to think that we're, different. There's a reason why they test chemicals and products on animals before they're given to you, because we are very similar to animals, right? So when you beat, it's gonna eventually get tired of that shit, and it's gonna fight back, bro. And once it gets to the point of fighting back, it's gonna be very difficult for you to tame that animal back to being, domesticated. You're gonna have a very difficult task in your hands once they reach that point. That's why the best option is to stop the problem before it gets to that point. Stop these individuals before they even choose to look at the streets, as guidance in general. So this means that this has to take action at a very, very young age, because they don't just hit 13 and then all of a sudden they start thinking about gangbanging and all this and that. This is a slow process. This has been little seeds and little steps that have been planted in the child's life, till he gets to that point of now becoming a gang member. He didn't go from night to day. This was a slow process where, he felt, through all the chaos and misery he's been put throughout the journey, why he decides to choose that path. You know what I mean? If you interact with a child, conversate, build bond, security, show them that you care and you're interested in his life, show them that you are there for them. Even if you do work 2 jobs, 15 minutes of, interaction, communication goes a long way. Showing interest in what they do, whether school related or activities or even games or video games or projects, makes all the difference in the world. But when you choose to ignore, when you choose to insult, when you choose to neglect, when you choose to abuse, whether verbally or physically, you're literally creating the chaotic future that this individual is going to follow. You know what I'm saying? But that's overall my opinion on the overall subject. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Shadow, we out.